Welcome back. I would be introducing you a concept of diversity factor in this short video. So let me choose some interesting color. Okay. So the diversity factor is the ratio of sum of individual maximum demands upon the simultaneous maximum demand. This is the expression for diversity factor. Okay, so far so good. This is the formula. Now, what does this formula tell you? What has it to do with power plant economics? Okay, I can mug up the formula, solve a numerical, get some marks, but that hardly helps in understanding the concepts. So, in order to understand the concept of diversity factor, I would consider a hypothetical case. Okay, so let us say that, let me erase this now. Let us consider a demand pattern where there are three categories of consumers. One is the industrial consumer, one is the agricultural consumer, and the third type is the domestic consumer. Let us say that the maximum demand of the industrial consumer is 30 megawatts. Okay. And this happens in this part of the day, in the afternoon, let us say. Let us say that a domestic consumer has a peak demand of 20 megawatt, and this happens in the evening. 20 megawatt. This I said is 30. This is 20. And supposing there is a third category of consumer, agricultural consumer, who waters his plants in the morning using agricultural pumps, and let us say his demand is some 10 megawatts. Okay, all this is in megawatts. The vertical y-axis is in megawatts, and this is the time of the day. Time of the day. So what you find here, and let us imagine that this power plant, okay, sorry, this consumers together have a peak. Okay, the average peak. It coincides. It happens in somewhere here, and let us say that is 40. That is 40. Okay. Okay. So it means now look at this. So the consumer agricultural consumer. Let us say I'll denote it by A, agricultural consumer. The domestic consumer. Let me denote it by D, and the industrial consumer. Let me denote it by I. Okay. So what is their sum of individual peaks, the maximum demand? Sum of individual maximum demand would be 30 plus 20 plus 10. Okay, A plus D plus I. And what is the actual peak demand at the end of the combination? Okay, so the actual peak demand or actual connected peak it would be 40. Okay, so the diversity factor comes out to be 50, 60 upon 40. 60 upon 40. Okay, how much is that? Is 1.5. 1.5. Right. This is the diversity factor. So now this is how we calculate. So how did we calculate? We took the individual peaks. This is the individual peak of agricultural consumer 10, the domestic consumer 20, and the individual peak of industrial consumer 30 that we added in the numerator. And then we took the simultaneous maximum demand, which was 40. And that is what we got the value of 1.5. This is what is the diversity factor. Now, why do we calculate this diversity factor? We calculate the diversity factor because if I want to plan for a power plant, what capacity power plant I should plan, then if the loads are more diversified, Okay, let us consider another screen. For example, let me consider a new whiteboard, wherein it's quite possible that all these three consumers have a load peak in the same time of the day. Okay, so let us say that one category of the consumer, in our case 30, the second category was also operating uh, at the peak during the same time of the day, and the third category is also using the electricity to its maximum during the same time. Okay, so it means that in this case now the diversity factor will be 16, and I need to operate a power plant not of 40 megawatt, because in this case the peak, the system peak would also be 60 now. System peak would be 16. Okay, because they are all coinciding. So it would be 60 upon 60, which is equal to 1. So the minimum value of diversity factor is 1, and that it is always desirable. It's always desirable to have diversity factor greater than 1. For the simple reason, because you saw in the case 1, our earlier screen, that when the diversity factor was 1.5, we needed to invest only in a 40 megawatt power plant. When the diversity factor is 1, in this case, we will have to install a power plant of capacity 60 megawatt. Okay, so that is the significance of diversity factor in the economics of power plant. Thank you very much.